Aloha and welcome back to the Kupuna Connections television program. I'm Cullen Hayashida with the St. Francis Healthcare System of Hawaii. The program focuses around the concept of active aging, things that we can do to remain engaged and things that we can do to view aging as an asset to our community. So today we're going to be talking about active aging with Dr. Carole Mandryk with the University of Hawaii's Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. And the topic that we have, or the title for our program today, get this, is Keeping the Mind Engaged. So, welcome, Carole.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here.
So, Carole, perhaps we can start off with you sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm the new director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at the University of Hawaii. I replaced the founding director who ran it for 20 years. We are a really nice, small, but apparently underutilized and little known lifelong learning institute at the university, where we teach a wide range of college level classes. And anyone can come and become a member and take classes from us.
Now, before coming into this particular line of work or this directorship, what were you doing in the past?
Well, I have a really kind of strange, varied background where I've studied archaeology and geology and anthropology and climate change, and I was a professor for 30 years. I've done a lot of different kinds of research. Someone who's been in Hawaii and been on the mainland and back and forth. And just last year, this really good opportunity came up for me to come back to UH and do something that sort of brings all of my interests all together.
Yes. Oh, okay. So sometimes just having these different career changes creates different perspectives too. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Sometimes we have all the same old, people that have not really been able to change their perspective. And so, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute that you direct, and perhaps you can kind of start off with sharing with us a little bit about what is this center anyway? What do you do?
Well, there's 120 Osher Lifelong Learning Institutes around. Can we see the picture that shows where they all are?
Oh, yes. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So what are we seeing here?
There's a Osher Foundation in San Francisco that funds and endows. They've endowed 120 Osher Institutes. So each institute is affiliated with a college or a university and is endowed by the Osher Institute. And you can Google this and go online and you'll see where there's an Osher Institute near you. It's really easy to see us there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
But so each one is intended to just be a wonderful institute affiliated with a university where people can go and take non-credit university level classes just for life enrichment. There are no grades, there are no requirements. Mr. Osher is this wonderful philanthropist, and he accidentally ran, just happened by a lifelong learning class about in 2001, and he thought, this is wonderful, I want to help people do more of this. And they started out in 2001, and now there's 120 of them.
I see. So, as you mentioned, the program at the University of Hawaii has been in existence for about 20 years.
20 years, yes.
And it offers a range of different kinds of classes throughout the year. And how do people take, is there a cost involved?
Yes, we are a membership program, and that's something that the Osher Institute thinks is an important thing to do, because if you're a member, it gives you like a sense of community and shared engagement. And the way it works is we have 3 semesters, a fall and a spring and a summer, and each semester it costs $60 to be a member.
I see.
And that $60 membership fee entitles you to take 3 of our courses and as many special events as you're interested in. So courses might be 4 to 6 to 8 to 12 weeks long. Special events tend to just be 1 or 2 days long. And they range, I mean, there's a wide range of topics there. You know, there's history and political things and public events and a lot of art and drama, science. We had a climate change class. We've had botany classes where you go and you identify botany plants and go on hikes. We've had yoga classes. We've had, I mean, just a wide range of things. Sometimes things on aging. And I've been, you know, my first year as director, I thought I would observe and see what everybody likes, and then we could start making different kinds of changes. But I've been doing some surveys to see what kind of additional things people might like us to add, if there's things that people would like to be offered that we don't have offered.
I see.
And there seems to be this idea that our courses are all taught by emeritus professors to other emeritus professors, but we actually have very few of either of those. We're trying to get more professors, but we have a wide range of professionals in different areas. And sometimes our most popular instructors might be, for example, we have a former attorney who teaches some of our really popular Shakespeare and famous play classes.
Oh, wow.
So it's sort of like, you know, everybody remembers when they had a passion. It might not have been what you did your career on, but it's your passion. And so people get to teach their passion.
Right.
People get to come and take the classes you didn't get to take as an undergraduate,
Right.
or just something you always wanted to take and you couldn't take, you can come and take with us.
I see, okay. And so, what sorts of people come in to take the, do you have to be a certain age?
Well, interestingly, it's for people who are 50 plus.
Okay.
That's a really easy thing to accomplish nowadays.
Yes.
Most of our people are actually, okay, good, here's the thing. That's data from a survey that I did this spring, and you'll see that the 50 to 59 range is very low, and most
Very
of our
few,
people
yeah.
seem to be in their 70s. I mean, that's our age range.
Oh, okay.
And this actually seems to be what a lot of ollies are like.
I see.
Now, what I think we want to do is I think we want to work on that first decade there. We want to start attracting people who haven't yet retired, and maybe have more classes that are in the early evening or on weekends, and attract some of those people. But at the moment, we tend to have mostly already retired people. So basically, that is our only requirement, that you be at least 50 years old.
At least 50 years
Other
old.
than that, we just want you to be curious and somebody who wants to learn.
Yes,
There are
yes.
no academic requirements or no other
Now,
requirements.
are the classes during the day usually, at night usually?
Our classes right now are entirely during the day.
During the
We're
day.
going to experiment. Well, we've occasionally had a special event thing that might be at 5:30. We're going to explore doing some early evening ones, but we're not going to move some of the ones we have now. We're just going to add others early evening. This summer, we're also experimenting with a couple on the weekend and see how that
So
goes.
usually they're Monday through Friday? then?
Usually they're Monday through Friday
Oh,
during
I
the
see,
day.
I see. Okay. So and usually during the day.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're 50 and you're still working, and then it gets a little bit tough to actually break away. Yeah. Okay. So the students, the older adults that are students gain a lot from this. What do they say about the classes?
Oh, people love our classes. People rave about it. You know, research has shown, and this makes me really happy, that it's really important to be actively engaged. You know, that if your mind is actively engaged, you're going to age slower.
Mm-hmm.
But also that if you're engaging your mind while at the same time you're engaged in a social environment, that's the best possible way.
That's right.
And that's what we offer, and what other lifelong learning institutes offer, is you're not just learning something the way you might if you were doing an online program or a little game or something. You're coming and you're being engaged with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're making friends. You know, just before I was coming here today, I was writing down different examples of things, but I was talking to a couple people that were there today, and one of them told me that the big appeal to her is to encounter like-minded people and hear about their life experiences. She said that I learn not just from the leader of the course, but all of the other participants too,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's just a wealth of experience. And sometimes I think we should have a special event which is just one surprising thing you didn't know about me. Because you'll be talking to someone and they'll be sitting there and you'll just think, oh, that's just another ordinary person. And it's like, oh my gosh, they used to sing opera. Oh my gosh, this person retired and then sailed
Yes.
around the world for 20 years on a sailboat.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, they're fascinating people.
Yes.
But they don't act like they're
Yeah.
fascinating.
Special
Yes. And just hearing all the other stories and hearing people's input into the topic that's being discussed that day.
Yes.
People really talk about
Now,
that a lot.
The Osher Institute, being that it's membership based, does that mean that those that are students there also feel as though they're part of a group or club?
I do think they feel that way. And
They get to know each other.
they
then.
get to know each other, and I've seen some really strong friendships. I've asked so many people, when did you guys meet? And they met at Osher.
Oh, I see.
And some people plan their classes each semester so that they can share rides and attend classes together. You know, like, oh, she wants to go to that one, I want to go to this one, we're going to have to, you know. But so people do get a lot of friendships from the
Yes,
institute.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
even the ones who don't necessarily do that, they really appreciate the sense of community. Some of the
Right.
classes sort of take on a life of their own, and there's people who always sign up for this particular class.
I see. Now, we got two additional pictures that we wanted to share. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Okay, here we're looking at some different classes, and the first, the top, those are just different students. You know, sometimes I feel strange calling them students, but members sounds strange too. We haven't come up with the best,
Yeah.
the best terminology. But those are different people who are, in the top left, they're watching a presentation by one of our popular instructors, Tom Sheeran. He's giving a lecture. On the right, that's another classroom. The bottom right are some people talking to each other at a break in between the classes. And I especially love the picture on the bottom left there. That's Jack Sullivan. He is one of our oldest members. He's been a member for 20 years.
Really?
And
Wow.
when I first got the job last year, he came to meet me and introduced himself with a number of jokes, and then gave me a list that he made of every class that he went to between 1997 and 2012. He has kept a list, and he said, I just want you to know how important this place is to me.
Wow.
And you know, and that was one of the things. Everyone, when I came on, they were like, we're so glad that you're here. This place
Yes.
is so important to us.
Now, you have another picture that you want to share with us? Tell us what
Okay,
we're seeing here.
this was wonderful. One of the really popular classes in the fall is John Hall would do botany talks and botany tours. And this is a wonderful picture that somebody took on one of their hikes. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of that hiking trail, so I'm not going to try to, but I love that picture. John is the one in the red hat. But so some people continued hiking and being part of a hiking group after being in this, where they went on one hike a week for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
And would learn about the vegetation.
Wow.
He was, John is a former UH professor.
Yes. So in a sense, you learn, you exercise, and socially you interact, and you
Yes.
so there's all of these are aspects of active aging.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
And you know, the thing about learning now, there's so much research that has gone on about neuroplasticity and you know, neurogenesis in terms of the creation of new brain cells.
Absolutely.
So it's use it or lose it, right? You know, and so this is all contributing to a healthier lifestyle. You know, I was reading a book recently by this Dr. Roger Landry. It's called "Live Long, Die Short." It's a little bit hard to take initially, but you know, the message is fairly, I think, good in the sense that we can live long and die long, which meaning that we could be in a nursing home for an extended period of time in very, very poor health. But you know, things like the program that you have with the Osher Institute, I think, you know, keeping people engaged with their minds, social activities, physical activity, will allow us to live long up until our last breath, basically. And that's a good thing.
Absolutely,
Yeah, right. So
absolutely.
I think that's what it's all about, right? So yeah, so thank you for sharing those. So so the members, the seniors that are students, they're getting a lot out of this and they've gotten good experiences from this.
Oh, absolutely. I do think so, yes.
So as far as are there some things that they can share with you in terms of how else they remain engaged, would you say?
You mean things that different people have told me?
Yes.
I did look for a couple examples. I was recently at the National Osher Network convention in Texas, where members from all 120 groups came and met together and shared stories. And one thing that really touched me was there was a story told about a recent widower who his doctor or someone told him about his local Osher Institute. And he started going, and he basically credited his local Ollie, we call them Ollies, with giving him the strength to move forward and decide to live. I mean, that's huge.
Yes.
And here's something else. There was one of our members who said that staying connected with other people and making friends is as important to her as the content of the courses. And she was an elementary school teacher, and she said that she is fascinated by the diversity of interest and background of all the people she's met through the program. And she said, it's a really important part of my life. The classes are interesting, but the bonus is meeting people from different fields that I would have never met otherwise. I became reacquainted with someone that I knew when I was working as a teacher. An old friend became a close friend through Osher. It also keeps me alert and aware of current events. This is a real community with real value. It's a way of staying connected and making new friends.
I see. Wow.
So you can really tell that it's important to them. It's not just the engaging their minds, it's enriching their lives
Now,
also.
Does your institute have special times during the week or during the semester where you gather just for social activities, or is that something that you sort of built into every class? How does that work?
That's a really good question. Right now it seems to sort of be built into certain classes, but I noticed that a lot of other Ollies on the mainland have some specifically social things, and I think we should do some more of that to gather some bigger groups together. We tend to have people who go to certain kinds of classes and know each other in certain groups. But like one of our absolutely most popular classes is there's always a film series that's 9:30 to 12:30 on Monday mornings, run by one of our most popular instructors who is a film studies teacher. And the pattern is that they will watch half of a movie, and then they'll go into another room and take a break and talk about it. I guess sometimes they watch the whole movie depending on how long it is. And then there's a group of people that stay and eat lunch afterwards. And there's like expected socializing. The longer classes tend to have breaks in the middle, definitely with a lot of socializing.
Now, do people bring food?
Oh yes, people bring food.
They always
And
bring food.
I actually taught a class last fall, and it was interesting. It wasn't, most recently I was doing climate change things, but people had sort of asked about different kinds of classes, and I came up with this idea that we would do a class that was about food and memory. And so we would talk about why is there such a strong association between foods and early memories. And after we'd done the class for a couple of weeks, someone came up to me and said, you didn't tell me you were teaching a writing class. And I said, am I teaching a writing class? Because the first thing we would do is it would be like, think of an early memory you have that involves food. Okay, now write something down about it. And we talked about, the neurobiology of why food and memory are connected, the different parts of the brain. We talked about anthropology of food. But the main thing that we did for the entire semester was think of a memory that you have of food or a favorite recipe or a favorite restaurant meal, and write about it and share it with the class. Write about a recipe, share it with the class. And right off the bat, people started bringing in the food they were talking about. So the class changed and became sharing the memories with all of our senses. A lot of food involved.
Now, the University of Hawaii also has another program called the Kupuna.
Yes.
Kupuna, which is the privilege for older adults to take classes, audit. Classes without having to pay for these classes. Have you found any? I mean, in the Kupuna program, the audited arrangements for seniors, there's no social interaction. It doesn't seem that way.
No, that's more of a traditional thing where basically you're getting permission from an instructor to sit in on the class, and you're sitting in on the normal class, and you don't have to do any of the homework or anything.
Right.
But you're just strictly sitting in on the lectures, taking part in the discussion if there's a discussion.
Right.
And that's an entire semester-long class. And I know a lot of people really like that, and they're really glad that they can do that. Ours is like a completely different thing. For one thing, we have almost no classes that run all 12 weeks. So it's good for some people, especially people who travel a lot, that they might always be able to find something that they can take from us, because it might just be 6 weeks at the beginning of the semester or 6 weeks at the end of the semester. But the social component is definitely something that, you know, we privilege as a very important thing.
Yes, yes. So that certainly is something special, I think, in terms of what you have to offer. But there are people that are taking both?
Yes, we do have, because I've had a lot of people tell me about the Kupuna program, or that they can't take this certain thing because it conflicts with the Kupuna program. So we definitely have people who do both of them and work their schedules out together.
Okay, yeah. Now, the month of May, we've got the Older Americans Act has this Older Americans Month, and they have used the theme of age out loud, like act out loud. You know, and do you have any kind of insights or advice for older adults as far as how to remain engaged or remain empowered?
Remain empowered. That's a really good thing to say. You know, I hadn't heard that before you talked to me about it, but I love the idea of age out loud. I mean, I'm a naturally loud person. I love the idea of being out there. But also talking to you earlier about active aging, so much of the time our society acts like aging is a lessening.
Yes.
Or a weakening, or somehow has to do with illness.
Going out to pasture, right?
Yes. And you know, one of the things I loved so much at the conference that I went to, there was a keynote talk by a guy named Bill Thomas, who's this guy who's really involved in aging. And I wrote down a couple of the things I specifically loved about what he said. He urges us to reject the stereotypes of this ageist society that we live in. And he said, now this might sound strange, aging is our superpower. Aging is not decline, it is growth when you are no longer young. So I just feel like, yes, age out loud, continue growing, continue living, you know, engage, be alive. You know, he said, aging completes us. There is life beyond adulthood. And what he meant was, you know, there's childhood and then there's adulthood, and you don't say to an adult that they should act like a child. Yeah. So why should you say to an elder that they need to act like an adult, or that if they're not acting like an adult, there's something lacking there? You know, being alive as an elder is a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
And we need to make people aware of all these different things they can be doing to engage themselves.
There's an opportunity to really find yourself.
Find yourself, and also do things for others.
That's right. I you know, this may seem like an unusual maybe example, but I recall this one woman, this is in Japan, her husband had passed away, and prior to that, you know, she was just always perhaps an obedient, you know, wife, and, you know, subservient in many respects. And that's how we kind of knew her. And after the husband passed, she blossomed. And we saw, you know, then we really got to know her as a person. And oftentimes when we look at aging, you know, where people say, you know, act your age, or, you know, this is not appropriate, you know, given, you know, your age. Perhaps there's something that destroys us, in the process, and there's an opportunity now. Now, you know, with let's say with retirement, where perhaps there is Social Security and you do have your pension, and that you know, you may still need some funds, of course, and you've got to watch your cash flow, but you don't need to worry about being fired, for example, and you can speak your mind and do things what you consider to be appropriate, you know. So there's a certain amount of freedom here, you know. So act out loud.
Yes.
Makes sense.
I like that. I like act out loud.
Yeah.
And I like when you talked about that this person blossomed. That's such a great image.
Yeah.
You know, and that we can have a whole bunch of people who can blossom.
Right.
And, you know, when you said act your age, I thought of how my son the other day asked me, you know, how old I was. And I said, well, you know, that's a hard question. It depends. But, you know, inside, I sort of feel like I'm 12. You know, I know a lot of people would say they were in their 30s or something. But my spunky, rebellious 12-year-old is, in essence, who I am, no matter what the frame is.
Yeah.
And you also made me think about how one of the questions you'd sent me to think about was, what gets you up every morning? What's your passion? And I think everybody should ask themselves that all the time. And my first response to that was, work gets me up every morning, knowing that I'm going to go help people and make a difference. And that knowing there's more I can contribute. And I just want to say to everybody, there's more we all can contribute.
Yeah.
You know, we are a resource. The older people in Hawaii are a resource.
Yeah. Well, Bill Thomas that you mentioned, had, I think it was Bill Thomas. Maybe it was not. Oh, it was Mark Friedman.
Okay.
There was this other guy who had written a book on active aging, Mark Friedman, and he had said that older adults is America's fastest growing natural resource.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And in Hawaii, you know, I read just recently, like people over 60 are going to be a third of the population by 2040.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we're using them.
Yeah. And we've got to, you know, we just have to find ways of remaining engaged, keeping physically fit and socially fit, right? Mentally fit. Financially, we've got to watch our cash flow, so we've got to be financially fit as well. But I think that, you know, what you are doing with this Osher Lifelong Learning Institute in terms of just encouraging people to remain mentally engaged, I think is a very good thing. And it's not just mental engagement, it's social engagement and physical engagement as well with some of the other activities that they do. Yeah, so this is all very good and a terrific resource for our community. So with the little time that we have, our viewers, you know, for our viewers, is there one last tip you'd like to leave with them? What would you suggest?
Come and find us. Maybe come and help and volunteer. Maybe there's something you even want to teach.
Yes,
and
yes.
Don't we have a picture of the building?
Yes, we have the last slide there, the picture.
Okay, so we're in the lovely Krause Hall where the duck pond is.
And then the last slide that we have, picture there, has some information.
That's our website and the phone number. You can call and talk to me with any questions.
956-8224. Yes. So that's the last slide there. So that's about all the time that we have right now. So thank you very much, Carole.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and so thank you all for watching this program, the Kupuna Connections television series, and hope to see you again next week. Aloha.